the Porsche 911 has finally gone hybrid. However, this isn't a lame token gesture hybrid, and it isn't the kind of system designed to exploit tax loopholes. Porsche knows it has to reduce emissions, but rather than just fit the same old hybrid system as you get in loads of other cars, it's gone in a very different direction. A bit like Formula One teams where they work within the rules to actually make their cars quicker, Porsche has done the same thing with the new 911. You see, their system helps reduce emissions, therefore it ticks a box, but it also produces more power, instant throttle response, and an even purer driving experience. But that's not all. Porsche has also given the 911 range a load of new upgrades, and some of these could pave the way for a new version of the Turbo S that could be the quickest and most powerful 911 ever made. As well as developing a new hybrid system, Porsche has given the whole 911 range a facelift. Don't expect anything too radical, because changing the basic design of a 911 would be like changing the shape of a pretzel. It's iconic, so you don't mess with it. However, you can spot some pretty significant changes, especially at the front. You get new LED matrix headlights, which replace the horizontal fog lights in the old car's bumper. In fact, the whole bumper is now completely new. Instead of the horizontal bars, you get 5 new vertical fins on each side. These really remind me of the gills on a fish. They work in a slightly fishy way too, because these flaps can open and close depending on how much cooling the car needs. They spend most of their time closed to improve the car's aerodynamics, but they can flip open when the radiators need extra air to keep everything cool. There's also some new movable flaps under the floor to help control the airflow, but no one's going to be looking at the floor of your 911 unless they're giving it a service, or maybe you've crashed it. So how else can you tell this new 911 apart from the old model? Well, you can get it with new alloy wheels ranging from 19 to 21 inches, and some come with carbon fibre inserts to help reduce drag. They're basically the world's poshest hubcaps. But that's not all. Porsche has also tweaked the rear light bar, and this new design is supposed to make the car look even wider, like it needed to do that. Anyway, you get new vents behind the rear windscreen, and the rear bumper and exhaust have also been upgraded. The pipes are now much closer together too, which I think looks way better than on the old car. It gives the car more of a GT vibe, and that's always a good thing. But if that isn't enough, there's also an optional aero kit available for some models with a fixed rear wing. As with most 911s, the updated versions always seem to look a bit better than the original generation. But what do you think? Do you agree with me that this new 992.2 looks better than the old 992.1? Let me know in the comments. The most important thing about the new 911 992.2 generation is its hybrid system, which is introduced on the GTS model. Now, Porsche has called this a T-hybrid system, and you'll find out why in a moment, but it's basically been developed to hit emissions targets. And the most important bit of this new system is the electric turbocharger. So how does it work? Well, when you're cruising along, you don't need the extra boost from the turbo. So Porsche has developed a way of using the turbine wheel inside the turbo to control how fast exhaust gases move through the car's catalytic converter. By slowing these gases down, the catalytic converters stay cooler for longer, which means they work more efficiently to help reduce emissions. The conventional way of cooling the catalytic converters is to make the engine run slightly richer. However, the downside of this is reduced fuel economy and higher hydrocarbon emissions. So Porsche's new method not only reduces fuel consumption, but also helps lower emissions. But it gets even better. When the turbine is acting like a windbreak to slow exhaust flow through the cat, it's being spun around. So Porsche has connected the turbine to a generator to turn this wasted energy into electricity. Now, this electricity can then be used to power a motor that instantly spins at the turbo compressor to deliver instant boost when you floor the accelerator. Now, this new electric hybrid turbo is so effective that Porsche only needs to use one turbocharger on its new engine to replace the 2 turbos you got in the old 992.1, and it doesn't need a huge battery to power it either. It only has a capacity of 1.9 kilowatt hours, and it's about the size of a normal 12-volt car battery. But it's still powerful enough to run a second electric motor Porsche's fitted inside the gearbox. This adds an extra 56 horsepower and 150 Newton meters of torque to fill in any gaps in the car's torque curve. It can't drive the car on its own like in some hybrids, so you can't cruise in electric-only mode. This motor is just there to give the engine a helping hand when you accelerate. But these aren't the only upgrades Porsche has made to the new GTS T Hybrid. It's also bored out the old GTS's 3-litre flat-six engine and fitted a new crankshaft. As a result, the new 992.2 GTS is a 3.6-litre flat-six single-turbo unit instead of a 3-litre flat-six twin-turbo unit. So how much power are we talking? Well, this new hybrid engine produces 541 horsepower and 610 newton-meters of torque. That's 61 horsepower and 40 newton-meters more than you got with the old car. But how does this affect the new GTS's performance? Well, Porsche's the four-wheel drive version will accelerate from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds flat. The new car's top speed has also risen from 193 miles an hour to a new lofty 194 miles an hour. Every little helps, I guess. So, when will other 911s get these upgrades? Well, Porsche hasn't said anything official yet, but it has been working on hybrid prototypes based on the previous 992 Turbo for years. Here they are, being tested. If you look very closely, you can even see the Turbo S logo on the front air dam. This could mean Porsche is cooking up a new Turbo S hybrid. If that car comes with the same 650 horsepower engine as the current Turbo S and a 56 horsepower electric motor, it could have over 700 horsepower. That's more power than the 991 GT2 RS has, and that was one of the most bonkers cars I've ever driven. If you want to see how a Porsche 911 GT2 RS compares with a Ferrari 296 GTB and a McLaren 765 LT, click on the pop-out banner in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Or if you're watching on Smart TV, just scan the QR code with your phone and it will take you to watch a drag race, which I'm sure you'll enjoy. Anyway, back to this new 911, because Porsche has found another interesting use for its new hybrid system. It doesn't just power the electric motor and electric turbo, it also runs the new active anti-roll system. This uses hydraulic and electrical actuators to adjust the car's anti-roll rates mid-corner. Essentially, the new GTS should lean less in fast corners. Porsche has also given the GTS its four-wheel steering as standard, so it should feel more responsive in tight low-speed turns and more stable when you're cruising. You might think the weight of all these hybrid components would affect how the car handles, but Porsche has kept the weight of all these new bits as low as possible. So the new GTS T Hybrid only weighs 50 kilograms more than the old car, and so the total weight is still quite reasonable. And anyway, this increase in weight is more than offset by the increase in performance, as illustrated by the new GTS T Hybrid's Nürburgring lap time of 7 minutes 16.9 seconds, which is 8.7 seconds quicker than the old GTS managed around the Nordschleife. The new GTS Hybrid isn't the only 911 to get some tasty upgrades though. The standard Carrera has also been given some performance modifications. The latest 992.2 version comes with the same basic 3-litre flat-six engine as the old Carrera, but Porsche has fitted new turbos which come from the old GTS model. It has also fitted new intercoolers from the 911 Turbo. So how much more power do you think this gives the car? An extra 25 horsepower? Maybe 50, eh? No. The new Carrera produces 394 horsepower, which is just 9 horsepower more than the old car. And torque isn't changed at 450 newton meters. Performance has improved slightly though, although we're talking about some very small changes. The new Carrera accelerates from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 4.1 seconds, or 3.9 seconds if you go for the optional Sport Chrono Pack. That's a 1/10 of a second quicker than the old Carrera. It's also slightly faster though. The new car tops out at 183 miles an hour, which is 1 mile an hour faster than the old car. Porsche hasn't just upgraded the new 911's engines though, it's also revamped the car's interior, but not necessarily in a good way. You see, the big news is that you get a fully digital driver's display for the first time ever, a little bit like the one you get in the Taycan. This means that the iconic analog central rev counter has gone. Oh dear, it's a bit of a shame. But at least you get a few graphic layouts to choose from, including one with a digital rev counter in the center. Also, you can get the rev counter slightly tilted like in racing cars, so the red line is at the very top, which makes it easier when you're racing and need to change gears at the exact right time. But that's not all though. From a practical point of view, you can now mirror your phone through this 13-inch display instead of just the central touchscreen, which is a huge bonus. However, I'm not so happy that Porsche has removed the old quirky twist key starter, because it was rather unique. Now though, you get a normal starter button just like in every other car. Now if you like removing stuff, you can also get rid of the car's back seats. They're now a no-cost option, but I think this is daft. A 911 should always have back seats. They're so useful if you need to carry kids or give a mate a lift. In fact, it's one of the things that defines the Porsche 911, and it's the kind of sports car you can actually justify having to your other half. I'm the sort of person who would actually put the seats back in my GT3 RS, if only there wasn't a stupid carbon fibre roll cage in the way. The new Porsche 911 992.2 is on sale now. An entry-level Carrera now costs from £99,800. I can see what they've done there. They've kept it under the magic £100,000 mark. That's for a coupe with PDK automatic gearbox, which is standard, and rear-wheel drive. That works out to about £2,800 more than the old car, which isn't a bad increase. The GTS, however, is a bit more expensive. The starting price is £132,600. Again, that's for a coupe with rear-wheel drive and the PDK automatic gearbox. That's a hefty £10,600 more than the old entry-level GTS cost, without the hybrid system. Now that does sound like quite a hike, but it still makes the car £26,500 less than the old 911 Turbo. And that car only had about 40 horsepower more than this new GTS hybrid. To be fair, the Turbo comes with four-wheel drive as standard, whereas you have to pay extra if you want the four-wheel drive version of the GTS. The Carrera, however, is not available with four-wheel drive. It's two-wheel drive only, though you can get the Carrera and the new GTS as a convertible if you want to, and the GTS is also available with a Targa if you want to add more weight, pay more, and actually have less performance. Anyway, the first 911 992.2 Carreras will be delivered in Europe in late summer, and the GTS-T hybrid should start arriving towards the end of the year. I hope you'll enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. If you want to watch some more videos, I've picked a couple out for you there. I think you'll like. Just click on those windows to watch them. Or if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to this channel. You can do that just by hitting the Carwow logo there. Simple.